Okay, folks, you got one problem in this. This is part one of the assignment. Now, this has 4 different parts. Some of them don't take long. Some of them are kind of a pain. Now, it says a basketball is thrown in the air from a height of 6 feet, velocity of 40 feet per second. Now, I don't need to deal with units here because I know this is a parabola. Okay. And I know the formula for a gravity is negative 16x squared, that's your gravity term, plus the velocity x, so 40x, plus your beginning height of 6 feet equals y. Okay, and by the way, when you write this, x is going to be the seconds, and y is going to equal the feet. Okay, so those 3 things. Now, when I work through each problem, I'm not going to look at anything else. I'm just going to, so find the max height. So we have a parabola. And I'm trying to find the x maximum. To find the x maximum, we use opposite of b divided by 2 times a, the shorter formula. It's like half of the song, okay, because you're finding halfway up. Okay, then I jot down the equation. Okay, and then I know A, this is in standard form, so I'm good. I know A and B, so the opposite of B is negative 40. And then I multiply the negative 16 times 2, it's negative 32. Then I find the quotient, and that's 1.25. Okay? Now I need to replace my x's with 1.25, and that'll say what y equals. So negative 16 parentheses 1.25 to the second power, plus 40 parentheses 1.25, and then plus 6. I actually got 31. Okay, so 31 equals y. Okay, so the maximum height is 31 feet, and it took a second and a quarter to get there. So maximums, that's what we need to do. Okay, another problem, find the height after 2 seconds. So I'm going to just mark a random point. Doesn't matter where, it could be on the way up or the way down. So I'm going to put 2 seconds here, and I'm going to jot that down. Okay, and 2 seconds is an x value because time is x. Okay, so since time's x, all I'm really doing is substituting 2 in for the x's, just direct substitution. And then of course it's quite easy to find out what y would equal at that point, how many feet you have. You just simply plug and chug it into your calculator. 22. So 22 feet. Okay, those first ones are fairly quick. Now the next one, first I need to change a problem. Instead of 45, I want it to say 20. Reason why is because it can't get to 45 when the max height's 31. That don't make any sense. Okay, so I got this parabola and I want to know 20 feet. So I jot down the equation again right next to the problem. And y, but 20 feet is a y value, so we need to put the 20 in for the y. So that means there's 2 answers to this, okay, because my x is left over and it's to the second power, so I need to go to my scratch paper, okay. Whenever I got to find those 2 answers, I didn't give myself enough room, so I'm going to my scratch paper. Okay, finding 2 answers. Okay, I need to use some form of factoring because we got that and that. So I take away 20, take away 20. My new equation is negative 16x squared plus 40x minus 14 equals 0. So it's 3 terms, so I'm going to go with the GCF and the T-chart. Remember, I have a backup if the T-chart hits a snag. GCF, I have a negative in front. We don't have x on everything, so let's talk about 14. Factors of 14, 1, 14, 2, 7. If we divide these all by 14, you're going to get some decimals. If If you divide all these by 7, you're going to get decimals. Now, how about 2? Well, they'll all divide by 2, okay? So they're even. So negative 2, I need to factor out that. Okay, so it's 8x squared minus 20x plus 7. Okay. 8 times 7 is positive 56, so we're looking for a sum of 20. No. 30, not 20. 3 is a decimal. It's 18. Okay, I'm already past 20. I've already crossed over 20 because that was 30. Now we're at 18. So once I cross that, then it can't be done. Okay, so opposite of b, opposite of b, plus or minus the square root. B squared, so we're going to go negative 20 the second, and then 4, 8, and then 7. Okay, over 2a, so 2 times 8. So I've got 20 plus or minus something over 16. Now let's figure out the square root. So I've got negative 20 times negative 20, and then 4 times 8 times 7. That's going to be 400. And then the other product's 224. Okay. 400 minus 224 is 176. Now, this is a story problem, so I am just going to approximate the square root. That's what those little lines mean. It means that I'm approximating the square root of 176, and it's about 13. Okay. So I put 13. So I'm going to hit, since I don't have the square root there, I need to add 20 plus 13 is 33. Then divide that by 16, and I get 2.06. Round to your answer, the nearest hundredth. 20 minus 13 is 7, and then I divide 7 by 16, and that's 0.44. Okay, both those are positive, so those will work. So 2.06 seconds and 0.44 seconds. The reason why you got two answers because it's at 20 feet on the way up, so that's the 0.44 seconds. Then when it gets over the top, it comes back to 20, and then that's been 2.06 seconds. Okay, my next problem, the ground. Okay. So negative 16x squared plus 40x plus 6 equals y. Now, if it's a feet number, it's going in for y, and that means I got two answers I need to find for x. Okay, so back to the scratch paper. I've got negative 16x squared plus 40x plus 6 equals 0. So to get these two answers, I need to be thinking, and I don't need to add or subtract anything like I did the last problem. Last problem we had a minus 20 from both sides. Not here because we already have our 0. So GCF, and then we're going to look at our T table because it will be a trinomial. GCF, we have a negative in front, not X on everything, so 6 is my smallest. Those will not all divide by 6, they won't all divide by 3, but they will all divide by 2 again. So negative 2 gets pulled out. You got to at least do a negative 1 on these problems because you're always going to have a negative. 8x squared minus 20x minus 3. It's going to be negative 24, difference of 20. That's a difference of 23. And that's a difference of 10. So I jumped over 20. So we got to use the song. Opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac. So negative 20. Remember, my ABC's here, not up here. That's when I do a GCF, that's where it needs to come from. And then 4a is 8, and then negative 3, and then 2 times 8. Okay. So I've got 20 plus or minus, and then 16. So I figure that out. So I take negative 20 times itself, and then 4 by 8 by negative 3. So that's 400. Okay, and that's going to be negative 96. So 496. Now, this is a story problem, so we're approximating the square root. We're not going to find the exact. Okay, so that'll be about 22. So I put a 22 there. So now that I'm not doing an exact answer, I can go ahead and find those. So 20 plus 22 divided by 16, that's going to be 2.63. 20 minus 22 is negative 2. That's going to be negative 0.13. Okay, so I've got 2.63 and negative 0.13. Only this is a legitimate answer. Now, the reason you only got one legit answer for 0 feet, because it didn't start at 0 feet. It never did. It started from 6 feet and goes back and lands at 0 feet. So that's kind of just an extraneous answer. Okay, next one. A football is punted from a height of 3 feet. Initial velocity of 45 feet per second. Okay, so we know what this does. It's a parabola. It's a gravity problem. So negative 16x squared plus our velocity, 45x, plus our beginning height of 3 equals y. So first is a quick one. You got to find the max height. We have to get the x first using the formula opposite of b divided by 2 times a. So I just copy that down. Now, even though I don't have a number to plug in, I know how I can get one using this formula. So opposite of b is negative 45, and then the product of 2 and my a is negative 32. So negative 45 by negative 32 is going to be 1.41, just round to the nearest hundredth when it goes out like that. 1.41, that's 1.41, and then I plug that in. Negative 16, then 1.41 to the second, plus 45 and 1.41, close it, and then plus 3. That gives me 34.64. Okay, so 34.64 feet is the answer. Okay, after how many seconds is the ball 25 feet in the air? So again, parabola, 25 feet, I'm just going to mark that. So negative 16x squared plus 45x plus 3 equals y. Now think a little bit. Where would you put a feet number? Remember, times x. So if it's a feet number, it needs to go in for y. 25. The x is going to have 2 answers, so that means I'm going to use my scratch paper. If I need 2 answers, it's best to use the scratch paper, otherwise my work gets all cluttered. Okay, so we got 2 answers we need to find. Since I've got that and that, it's a factoring problem, so it means right away we need to move everything to one side and then devise a plan. So negative 16x squared plus 45 times x minus 22 equals 0. Okay, so 3 terms again. So my factoring plan is to find a GCF if it's possible. And then the T chart, knowing that I have a backup plan if the T doesn't work, which it very well may not. GCF, we have a negative in front, so we're at least going to do negative 1 at the bare minimum. Okay, 16 is my smallest, 1/16, 2/8, 3 is a decimal, 4 and 4. These will not all divide by 16. They ain't going to all divide by 8 either. They ain't going to divide by 4, and they ain't going to divide by 2, so we need to use the 1 because I have the negative. So I'd factor out a negative 1, so it's going to be 16x squared minus 45x plus 22. Okay, little word to the wise, A times C, 352. If I get a number up above 150, okay, which I did, I am not going to run through the T chart, okay? I'm just going to go right to my song. So the magic number is kind of 150. So opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, negative 45 to the second minus 4 16 and 22. Then I take my 16 by 2, it's 32. So I've got 45 plus or minus something over 32. Now I need to find out, calculate my, approximate the square root. So I've got 45, negative 45 times itself, and then I've got 4 times 16 times 22. So negative 45 times negative 45 is 2025 minus, then I find the product of 4, 16, and 22, and that's 1,408. Now I just minus those. 617. Now remember, I don't want an exact answer. I just need to approximate. Okay, so it'd be about 25. 45 plus 25, 70, divided by 32, 2.19. Then 45 minus 25 is 20, divided by 32, it's going to be 0.63. Okay, so my two answers are 2.19 seconds and 0.63, both legit. How many seconds the ball land on the ground? That means when is it at 0 feet? So negative 16x squared plus 45x plus 3 equals y, and we're going to put 0 feet in for y. Okay. That means two answers for x, because the x I have left is to the second power. Remember, two answers to the equation. I already got my 0. So GCF. Remember, you have the bare minimum, you got at least a -1 GCF with these gravity problems. Okay, so GCF, we got a negative in the front, don't have x on everything, 3 is my smallest, you can't divide all those by 3, so we're going with 1, because we already have decided we at least need to factor out a negative. Okay, so 16x squared minus 45x minus 3. Okay, so 16 times -3 is -48. Difference of 45. That's a difference of 47, but then if I go by 2, now we're at a difference of 22, so I jumped over the 45, so no. Okay, so you can't find it. So, quadratic formula. Opposite of b plus or minus the square root. 45 to the second minus a 4. A 16, and remember to make the c -3, because if you just make it 3, it's screwed up, and then 2 by 16. Okay, so I've got 45 plus or minus, and then the product of 2 and 16 is 32. So I need to figure that out. So I take -45 times itself, and then I take 4 by 16 by -3. 2025 minus 4 by 16 by -3 is -192 plus. Okay, so 2025 plus 192 is 2217. Now remember, on a story problem, we just approximate the square root. We do not need to find the exact. Finding the exact means you got to divide by that crap on the board. Okay, 47 is good enough, so it's about 47. Okay. So 45 plus 47 is 92. Then I'm going to divide that by 32. I get 2.88. Then 45 minus 47, -2. Divide by 32, and that's -0.06. Okay, so those are the two answers, but only the positive is legit. Okay, 2.88 seconds. Okay.